Yo, Yamamo, Aquaba strong so ever POG Media, so messages are fee, and as well, but Jumedian so over subscribe like Jumediano, Neshe Jumediano, Nema for friends, so in San Cabia, so I will a Yamrashi, Bijafina, and then a mid year, a year review, a year budget reading, no, and then at a forcing at the Baba Ababa, but to Janene, na in Kaibi Basse, MPs or boycotts. Yankana said the media reading a budget no not just omon betsna yamrashi bejefum pu entie bi ehunu de ekọ ene de eba adenti ana mama beta because omuhu ni say ye wonema bi wo no mo ato nchia anas.
Colleague, we're covering this presentation together with the host of our producers in terms of the mid-year budget review. I mean, Kweku, I was trying to get earlier on from Honorable Rekete about him running us through. What I know is that this is not a budget, and let's explain to our viewers. The minister paid the Public Financial Management Act before the 31st of July in that fiscal year should come to Parliament and update Parliament on how the economy has fared, because the last budget was based on data ending December. That is what he's going to do.
Exactly. So, just like you said, the PFMA provides that before the end of July, the finance minister would have to come back to Parliament to explain and to also sometimes review some of the data, because a lot of projections are made. Half year, you are obviously able to tell whether your projections are spot on. Do you want to revise certain things? So what the finance minister is going to do is it's in the name. The mid-year budget review. The minister is going to review the budget that he made. Sometimes they ask for money. This time around, as we are learning, they are not going to ask for any more money, because what they are doing is to simply come by way of a statement, and then the finance minister will deliver that, and then they will move on. So just like you said, very instructive. This is not a budget. This is a mid-year budget review that the finance minister is going to do. And there's a lot of politics around this, obviously. In fact, right from Monday, the minority had kept insisting that the finance minister comes for a committee of the whole meeting. We understand that happened yesterday. In fact, we can confirm that it did happen. Of course, journalists were asked out of the chamber, but it did happen behind closed doors. The finance minister, with both sides of the house, certain key welfare matters all discussed, and all those issues have been trashed. Today, what we can tell our viewers also is that the minority will be in the chamber when proceedings begin, but just before the finance minister will begin his presentation, they will all file out. In fact, if you just go about 5 meters from
them all
in black, because they are protesting. They say that there are certain things going on with Ghana's democracy that they do not want. That is why they are petitioning the president, the diplomatic corps, Kodeo, a host of other national institutions. So they are going to do that. So if you go 5 meters behind us, there are a number of buses, Land Cruisers that are ready for when the minority file past and leave Parliament. They are going to get into the vehicles and go to the presidency and present the press petition. As whether or not the presidency will receive them at the same time the minister presenting the media budget, we do not know. But we know that the men and women of the New Patriotic Party are not going to sit through Forsen's presentation.
Let me also get, I remember yesterday you spoke to the chairman of the that is economy, and he was categorical. I asked Honorable Kweku Rekete again, who is also the deputy majority leader, sent to be corrected on that one, about a supplementary budget. He couldn't answer that question.
Yes,
I have had situations where an hour before budget, documents have been changed.
And that's very interesting, because from where he sits, he's much closer to getting certain very key information as deputy leader. And he has also served in the finance ministry before. And so once he doesn't want to confirm or deny, it tells you that they want to keep their cards very close to their chest. And it's very instructive, the point you also make, that is the majority leader. They are going down there. Obviously, any moment from now, things are going to start. And so they're keeping their cards close to their chest, just in case there are changes. They do not want to come out and commit themselves.
Out of place, even with the major budget, documents have changed last year.
And they do not want to commit themselves when there may be changes. But of course, the chairman of the Committee on Economy and Development was categorical. They are not going to ask for more money, but things can change any moment from now. The finance minister is here as we speak. He's in the speaker's lobby. He's going through his books. There may be calls from the presidency, there may be calls from other places that may force certain changes to be made. So until the finance minister goes to the days and start presenting, you can never be too sure as to what to expect. And that is why we are keeping our cards close.
I also sought to ask the deputy majority leader for clarity on about whether this will be a statement or motion. he also didn't want to answer that one as well, because a statement means that no one can comment or debate. I stand to be correct in terms of parliamentary proceedings. But why is the minister going this way in terms of not laying a motion, but rather a statement?
I think it's because of the points they made while in opposition, because they used to fight Akuffo a lot about coming by way of statement, and they said that was the finance minister's way of circumventing the process for a vote, because normally they wanted to force a vote to some of the key changes that were being made, and the finance minister then, Akuffo, and even later, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam did not want to do that. They always came by statement, and I think they've seen the wisdom in that, because when you come by motion, a motion means you move, it will be seconded, it will be voted on, and you don't want to take the risk. Of course, they have two-thirds majority. They don't even have to be afraid of that. But the calculus is that you bring a statement, it is commented on. It is a much more easier process to circumvent than coming by way of motion. Yesterday, the provisional order paper showed that the minister was coming by way of statement. And so, statement, the finance minister, statement of the media budget review. But the order paper for today hasn't been printed yet. It may change to a motion depending on what it's going to do. But normally when it comes by way of statement, then you know the minister is just going to tell you a statement. He's not going to ask for anything that requires parliamentary approval. And if the minister wants more money, Parliament will have to approve it by motion. If it comes by statement, it gives you an indication clear away that the minister is just going to make just a bare statement, tell you about changes, what they have done, what they expect, and then he'll leave.
There's a critical question. That is why people are even speculating on the supplementary budget, is that there is still lack of clarity about how they're going to finance the 24-hour economy. And that is where the big challenge is. How is it going to finance it? And that is where people are trying to get some understanding in terms of how it will be done. If it doesn't come through a supplementary budget, how is it going to address that?
And that's important because normally, and I see the Deputy Finance Minister, will try to grab him pretty shortly. What happens usually with some of these very key and important matters is that you need to be able to adjust. And even if you're going to move money around from the budget you already presented, you still need parliamentary approval because the money was approved for a specific function. And if you want to move them around, then you need the approval of Parliament. And so when we get the Deputy Finance Minister to come to you, talk to you, perhaps we'll get to know some of the understanding and what exactly he intends to do with some of these things, which are very crucial. The Deputy Finance Minister.
We have the Deputy Minister. Honorable, thank you so much for your time. Are we ready for the...
We are ready. The Minister is in the building. We are waiting for Mr. Speaker to enter, and then he will come and deliver the statement.
Are we going to see a supplementary budget?
I have already answered that we are not seeking more money. But he will seek approval for other things.
What do you have to tell Ghanaians? The concern is that, yes, the minister has been able to manage the economy prudently, but there is a challenge about inflation, NDC, or my pocket as well. The macro numbers, the lag time, the transmission time for people feeling these things in their pocket. What do you say about that?
There is always a lag, but you can agree with me that prices have started going down. We expect it to go further than it is now, but prices are sticky downwards, and so it is a gradual process. We are expecting inflation to go down further. I mean, this 13.7% is likely to go down in the next window, and so the signs are very good. I mean, so just wait in a couple of minutes. The minister is here. He will enter and he will deliver the statement.
Last 2 minutes, there's a fear that you've been able to close the taps in the first 6 months of the year. And that is why we've seen that prudence in terms of the inflation and also the CD as well. The president recently indicated that in the coming weeks after the audit, you will start paying contractors as well. You can even confirm for that if it's not true or not. The fear is that when you start doing payments and all the rest, the taps will be open, things could get out of hand.
As soon as, the minister completes the statement, you will agree with us that contrary to the perception that we are not spending, we are spending. We are spending a lot. We are actually implementing this year's budget. And I have not seen any budget in the history of this country that has been implemented so well like this year's 2025 budget. So you see clearly that we are spending. Of course, for arrears that we inherited, in this budget we indicated that we'll pay 13.7 billion. We will pay that because of the auditing and all that, the payment delayed. We have announced that at the end of this month we will start paying contractors. But we'll do it in such a way that the fear will be contained. All those who fear that as soon as we start paying contractors, we'll see the numbers. No, that is not going to happen. We have planned and we are implementing according to plan.
Well, finally, how is the minister committed to fiscal prudence? That is the biggest fear going forward.
You see, that is the difference between the management of the economy today and the management of the economy yesterday. You are seeing fiscal prudence, and the good news is that His Excellency President Mahama supports his finance minister to the core. And so Ghanaians should be rest assured that we will continue to stay disciplined in the management of our finances.
Honorable, thank you so much. And that is our coverage of the 2024 budget. As he actually, 25 budget, as he's explained to us very soon, the finance minister will come before the House and present the mid-year review of 2025 estimates. This is our coverage from me here in Parliament together with my team. Back to you guys in the studio.
And you heard, George, this is our coverage. You want to stay with us. And you heard the Deputy Finance Minister say that the minister is in Parliament and would walk into the chamber any moment from now. But Gilbert, you were on the tax. Prof, I'll come to you. When I come to you, we'll pick up on what Alasa Suhini mentioned about the road, the constructions project, Kofi, and you'd be reminding us about how much we were losing since we just scrapped the road tolls. But I'll go back to Parliament. George is just about engaging the Trade Minister, I think.
A coverage of the mid-year budget review, and I have with me here the Minister of Trade and Industry, and then there's another one which I forgot. Honorable, forgive me for that, but an agribusiness as well.
The President has realigned the Ministry of Trade and Industry by Executive Instrument EI1 2025 to include agribusiness. So we are now a Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry.
Honorable, thank you so much for your time. For you, for your sector, I knew that normally for these presentations, the sector ministers would make an input as well. What should we be expecting on the trade and industry sector when the minister comes before the House, please?
Well, the enabling environment is what the trade, agribusiness and industry sector looks out for. Before trade, agribusiness and industry can thrive, you need the enabling environment, especially dollar is the major trading currency for our country. And once the cedi appreciates, then you know that there is ease of doing business because cost of production certainly reduces. And there is investor confidence, and you know that the Business Regulatory Reform Unit at the Ministry of Trade is doing awesome. And so I say that the business environment is good. At this budget, I'm expecting the Finance Minister to account for the stewardship of Excellency John Dramani Mahama. A stewardship that I'm sure he will be proud of today, because the Finance Minister is going to tell us, among other things, how the cedi has appreciated, how prices have reduced, how inflation has reduced, and how investor confidence has increased. And so, by and large, I think that is a very good mid-year, and I expect that at the end of the day, we will be confident of what we have done and will be proud of ourselves as a country, because I see this as something that we have all done together. And so at the end of the day, we will be proud of ourselves as a country, and then we'll be strengthened to do more, to even achieve more.
But I know that this is something that would definitely come onto your table in terms of some industry concerns that I know government is working on. The concerns about trading in the retail space has come up again, and Guta is insisting that government enforces the
Nyami sure so guswa hwe dwumadie no fa mienu na yede ebro no message so bo subscribe like dwumadie no share na ma for so ensanka be kindly click on the notification bell so send be any news bia at the platform no so so won bi no dey ko ne dey but ye ko fam mienu no yanko ne yakọ hwe di esiye ene di minister no so ka efa eye Mahama eye government
Investment Act. What is government latest position on addressing these concerns when it comes to the fact that the retail space is reserved for Ghanaians and Ghanaians only, unless you employ about 20 people and invest more than $1 million? What is the latest in addressing some of these concerns, Honorable?
Okay, so the law is what it is, and the law is what we are enforcing. As I speak to you right now, we are going to the market next week. we having discussion with the trade unions and then rolling out our plan to ensure that only Ghanaians remain in the retail space. That's what it is. And I mean, there is no but, there is no if. And we are going to ensure that that happens.
And that is the assurance I'm going to get from you.
Assurance that I have given, and it's a pledge.
Oh, no, but you talked about the city as well. I mean, there are some businesses who are complaining that they don't have that, and even as well. I mean, what is the engagement to those who are managing the monetary? They are not getting the city to do business as well. I know the Bank of Ghana.
Yes, you see, the Bank of Ghana, I have to say a big thank you to the Bank of Ghana, because there was a major issue on the repatriation of export proceeds. Until 3 days ago, you had only 60 days to repatriate your export proceeds. But after engagement with Bank of Ghana, they have extended it to 120 days, which is awesome. If you are trading through the banks are doing their best to ensure that you get foreign exchange to do your transaction. And so I'm sure that the Bank of Ghana is available to make sure that businesses thrive. And I am confident that this matter is something that they are addressing to make sure that everybody is able to trade through the legal channels. And then
we have mentioned Bank of Ghana. Recently, the Bank of Ghana also moved to ensure that when it comes to shipping lines and even at the ports, they work with the commercial banks rate and the Bank of Ghana rate as well. As a sector minister, so what do you make of this recent action by Bank of Ghana to try and sanitize the ports, and when it comes to charges and fees, has been a very big challenge for most importers and businesses?
It is very positive. The Bank of Ghana wants to ensure that we regulate our financial sector prudently, and so they are making sure that people play according to the book, and this is helping the business community. That's why I told you earlier that the investor confidence is very high. The business community really appreciate what is going on, and I think that it is the way to go. So we encourage Bank of Ghana to keep on doing what it's doing, and we really appreciate
what finally, what is government also doing to improve the business environment for the lot of manufacturing firms, and even with respect to kick and start the 24-hour economy as well?
Oh, when we did the economic dialogue, the business community indicated that once we stabilize the city, they are business people. They will thrive, and that's what I can see. Again, at the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, they are home. We now have the business regulatory reform up and doing. And so one-stop shop, you can get your company registration, you can get your standard authority permit, FDA permit. We coordinate for about 50 government institutions to ensure that the business environment is good. Now, if you go to the port and harbors, they are improving what they do. There were a lot of containers that the national security is taking off to free the port so that we are able to clear our goods very fast. The government is a hands-on one. Just last Friday, the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry did an exporters forum where we did a clinic. You tell us what you need from us so that you are able to upskill. Awesome. And the president is working on the one that needs bilateral agreements, and then we are also dealing with the one that needs our colleague on the other side. I mean, it is fantastic. So I think that the Mahama administration is a hands-on administration where we deal with the problem practically, solve it for you so that your business thrives.
Honorable, I appreciate your time so much, and we'll come back again.
aha and edi dwumadie no ebesi ade amamo nyame nka ho so ahwe dwumadie no ebesi is the same way dwumadie no ego so ye de nsempa na babronti so agebra na ne POG Media woni ye dita so de mamu no se POG Media de ye no mo ntimi hyebom mongebre na monka ho na POG Media ye mfa nsempa no nyede embro makramo